So, we'll get right into it, right? We know what we're doing here. Just to kind of reiterate, our target audience, right, is high school athletes looking to play at the next level.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they're going through, the recruiting process. Maybe they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea like if they're doing the right things, if they need to be doing something different. Right? Obviously, when we were going through the recruiting process, everything was different. Right. So now there's these services where players and kids can kind of sign up for thousands of dollars that get their names out. Right. They're video databases, any type of databases. Just I don't truly know how it works, but I know that parents are paying thousands of dollars for this. Obviously, like travel ball is getting even more elite.
Yeah.
Right. My last year of high school, dude, I think my parents paid 2,000 2,500 bucks for me to play on a fall team.
Yeah.
Right. That
It's
was a
crazy.
travel team. Yeah. That ended up, I got, some eyes on me there, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of coin, especially if you're doing it year round, right? Multiple sports, maybe you don't have an idea of where you want to go, what you want to focus on, right? So, somebody's got to pay for that, man. So, just let's dive in just to a quick intro. Dude, if you want to go first, you want me to go first, right? I figured we just hit on a little intro, a couple minutes on an intro, and then just jump straight into those topics I sent you.
Yeah. It don't matter to me. Like, I mean, I think, like you just said, though, it's changed so much. And when I was playing, I mean, it was competitive baseball for sure. But now I give lessons to younger kids, high school kids, and they're on these elite, crazy teams and they're flying all over and doing all it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
So it's changed a lot. A little background on myself is I went to junior college right out of high school. I was probably one of the better players in the area in high school, but I wasn't like some crazy special gifted guy that stood out. So I went the junior college route. I was actually drafted out of high school by the Braves, but did not sign. It was more of like a favor, I think. Um, Went to junior college for 2 years. Found out very quickly that I actually want something I wanted to do. I worked my butt off. It was more work, more dedication than I ever had to do in baseball. I'll tell you that. And then went to a Division II after that. I was talking to some bigger schools, but I wanted to pitch, and I didn't think I'd be able to at a bigger school, so I wasn't ready yet. And then I went to Division II, got my butt kicked, just bad. And then based on projectability, I signed a free agent deal with the Mariners, and something clicked in me there. And we could talk about that later. But once I got away from some of the pressures I had put on myself, I really took off in
I love
professional
that.
baseball.
I love that, dude. I love that. Yeah, so there's something at some point that just clicks where it's like,
Yeah,
hey, I know I want this, right? So that's
yeah,
one of the things that we're going to talk about. It's like you kind of need to weigh the pros and cons of everything, right? You need to kind of like take a step back from your situation, be able to view it from an outside source. We're going to talk a little bit about athletic directors, right? High school head coaches, right? An inner circle of people that might have an idea of what's going on. Maybe, somebody you can lean on, um, you know, pass some information off of, get some ideas off of, maybe get some motivation from, man. But a little intro about me, man. Went through, Try to go through this whole process, right? I went to a public school, and ended up not working out, right? Didn't have my priorities straight, right? Didn't have my head on straight. Ended up
hmm
relocating to a Catholic high school. Didn't have any Division I offers, right? Committed to a Division II school. Was going to play it safe, stay close to home. Something was like, nah, nah, nah. So decommitted, walked on to a Division I school. Long story. We'll touch on that on another video, another topic. But ended up, getting drafted in the 14th round. Man, grinded through the minor leagues with you, David. And then ended up, after spent almost a decade in professional baseball, but ended up making my major league debut with the Twins in 2019, man. So, now we're,
wild.
yeah, it's crazy how
Yeah,
things work, man. But, now we're just trying to help others, man, right? If there are other, high school athletes or younger athletes that maybe going through the process that don't, have a ton of confidence or have a ton of belief in their ability, or maybe there's not a whole bunch of other people that have that belief in them and their ability, like, you know, there wasn't for us, man. We figured it out, right? There's something along the way, along your journey, there's something that's gonna like click, right? So, maybe if there's some things that worked for us, or some ideas or some experiences that positively influenced us, maybe we can share them, right? Maybe we can help out others. But right. So let's touch on like a recruiting process, dude.
Yeah, because we
Um,
you wrote all this stuff out last night.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like
So
I said,
everybody's story is different.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was our recruiting process like? Right. What was our experience? Right. I don't know. Did you have any offers? Did you have any offers coming out of high school? Right. So let's, before we even jump into that, how long did you spend in professional baseball? How many seasons? How many years?
9 years, well, 9 seasons.
Got you, dude. And you made it to the top of the minor league ladder, dude. You made it to AAA. You're one step away, right?
Yeah.
So how many, you said you went JC, you went junior college and then Division two. How many offers did you have coming out of high school? What was the recruiting process like for you?
Yeah, so I went to, I mean, my high school was tiny. There was
Okay.
400 kids in it.
Okay.
Um, I had an offer from every junior college, and actually Kansas is well known for junior college baseball.
Okay.
It's called the Jayhawk League, one of the best leagues in junior college. But I talked to KU, so University of Kansas had a high school, K State, barely Wichita State. Um, but offer wise, it was like some smaller junior colleges around. Um, but then I decided to sign with Hutch. I thought it was the best fit. A couple of my buddies were going there as well. It's called Hutchinson Community College.
Okay.
We ended up getting third in the JUCO World Series when I was there. Actually, it was the most fun I had in baseball. It was real, and I mean, we ran so much. We learned how to work. It was hard, and I mean, I told you earlier before in a different meeting we had that guys were, I mean, quitting because they were like, what's the point of this? And I mean, we can go down that. I don't know if that's necessary. I'm not going to be running 17 miles to throw a baseball, but
I
it
get
taught
it.
me, yeah, it taught me how to work. It taught me um, what work ethic was. And then my sophomore year at junior college, um, I was doing well. I'd have like moments where I was throwing really hard, and then moments when I just couldn't figure it out. But I had talked to Oregon State, Marshall. I don't know how they got a hold of me, but you get these letters coming in all the time because
Yeah.
in college I was uh, right around the same height I am now, but about 6'5", 200 something pounds, skinny, but I could. I didn't have the best numbers, but I was projectable.
I love that.
But yeah,
I
Oregon
love that.
State, Marshall, um, KU, K State, all these random schools would send me like Liberty. Remember that?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, 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 by the
yeah,
beach.
yeah, by the
That's
beach.
awesome. I don't know.
Oh,
I thought they
I
got a
think
beach
Liberty.
somewhere. I got a
I
beach
think
somewhere.
Liberty
I
is
don't
like
know.
in New York, but yeah, it's all these. Like you were gonna go D1 no matter what, right?
So that was my thought process, right?
Yeah,
It was my mom. So my high school team wasn't great, right? I had a great coach, great relationship with my coach. I didn't really get a whole lot of offers, man. So I was just a little pipsqueak, dude. So I remember I had it written down here, man. I was going to touch on the athletic director thing.
yeah,
I was small, dude. I was a late bloomer. So I reached out to every single Division I school via email, right? I was just marketing myself, right? We touched on it a little bit, at the start of this video, the intro. It's like, man, there are players and there's players' families that'll spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars just to get
to
their
do
name
what you
out.
did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. So
Yeah,
it comes down to like, what's important to you? How bad do you want it? Almost, right? I had to outreach myself, right? During my free time, right? Emailed every single Division I college, right? And obviously you get those emails back like, dude, appreciate you reaching out, man, but our rosters are filled. Or yeah, no, Ian, sounds great, man. Love to see some video on you, right? So my mom, we went down to the local little league.
yeah,
I'm playing, I'm in, what am I, 10th or 11th grade, right? So we're playing not travel like elite travel Legion baseball, but it's like the local, I guess it's called Little League, whatever. So, my mom shot a little video of me with a couple at bats, right? Taking a little bit of batting practice beforehand and throwing from the outfield, send it out to all the Division 1 schools, right? I guess that's what these parents are doing with these
Basically, yeah.
excuse me, these services that they outreach for all these players, man. It's like, I mean, I don't know how maybe you could do it different today, but I was going to ask you, like, through our experience, what are these college coaches looking for? What are professional scouts looking for in players that they're either trying to recruit via, hey, I'll offer you a scholarship, or hey, we'd like to draft you, right? In
Yeah.
whatever your respective sport is. But like, what are these college coaches looking for? And before that we jump into this, I just kind of want to say, because it's on my brain now, it's like, how am I going to separate myself from the pack? Right? I'm just a regular kid. I'm a regular kid. I'm junior in high school. I'm 5'9", 5'10", skinny as a pencil. I can just run fast, bro. Right? Like, how am I going to stand out from the pack? How am I going to differentiate myself from everybody else that's doing the same thing I'm doing, that can do the same thing I'm doing? But like, how am I going to show that I'm different? Right?
Yeah.
How am I going to? So I emailed every single Division 1 school in the country. Who else was doing that? Who else was doing? No one was doing that when I was doing it, right? So maybe that's what separated me. I don't know, but like, what do you think could be the separator, man? Like, what are college coaches? What are scouts? Like, what are these recruiting people looking for in an athlete? Like, let's as it pertains to baseball, right? Because that's where our lack of a better term, expertise comes from. That's where our
Yeah.
experience comes from, right? So, what are these college recruiting coaches, these recruiting coordinators? What are they looking for?
I mean, I think the game has changed. I think sports, if how we get information has changed. For you, like back then, if you could have done your 60 on some, laser time, that's
Yeah,
probably all you would have needed. Like, watch this video real quick. Here's my 60.
for sure.
I ran a 6'5" or 6'4" or whatever you ran it, and then you send that off, and they're like, "Holy cow, this kid's
Yeah.
running sub, early six in the 60s," and or some kid, you know, sends a video of him hitting crazy launch angle home runs, or some player or pitcher that maybe throws 90, but his spin rate's crazy, or is an induced horizontal break, or so it's changed. Like
Yeah.
back when we were playing, I remember I threw Kentucky, University of Kentucky flew up to watch me and another pitcher. And then the kid went to it. And this is a funny story. I forgot my cleats, so I had to throw on a mound at 17 years
I
old in turfs. My dad was so pissed. Um, but I think
get that.
yeah, nowadays these guys are looking for numbers,
Yeah.
so it's changed a little bit. My dad runs a baseball academy here in Texas where I'm at right now, and he calls it like, oh, it's some recruitment thing, but go through these workouts with these kids to teach them how to work, teach them how to throw, just advise them throughout that process. And then he has relationships basically like what you do or what you did, and just reach out to all the coaches. And it could be an AIA or whatever, but he'll just send a text like, "Hey, I got a guy down here. He's 6'1", good arm, works hard." And
Yeah.
he just like puts his name out for kids. But I think like
100%.
yeah,
What
nowadays I
is
think
what's like could a kid do that? Could a kid do that right now in high school? Right? What does that take? What's it
yeah,
take for a kid to do that right now? I mean, time and effort,
yeah,
right? Is
time and
that just
effort, and
you
then
don't you don't want the hard answers, right? Maybe you get a message back from, the Oklahoma State coach like, "Hey man, appreciate it. Not a good
yeah,
fit." Like, maybe you don't want those hard answers, right? I
that's
don't
what I'm saying.
know.
Like maybe they pay my dad, and it's nothing against what he's doing. I think he's doing a service for it, but I don't know if they pay him $1,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But he works him out a little bit, and then a text comes from a reputable source that
Yeah,
says this
that
kid.
makes sense.
I
That
don't.
makes sense.
So if you're paying for these, it depends on who you're giving your money to.
Yeah. Okay.
My dad almost had 6 years in the big leagues, but if you're paying some, I don't know, younger nerd kid to
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, give me $2,500 and I'll do this for you." Like,
I'll yeah,
why
I'll
aren't you
speak
doing it?
about you in your
Yeah,
outreach. Yeah, your reputation, right? So you're paying some dude that you don't know, that doesn't really have a track record, no
yeah,
experience, right? That you would, think as credible or reputable, right? To kind of just like Oh, these guys will hit the recruiting trail for me. I trust them. Here's 2,500 beans, like,
Yeah.
and then nothing behind the scenes. Yeah, how's everything going? I haven't heard anything. Like, maybe you gotta trust your source, trust who you're working with. I wrote down what are these college coaches and scouts kind of like? What are the next level teams? Division 1 teams, Division 2 teams, Division 3 coach. What are they looking for? Right, some like qualities, right? That players, don't have to have all the talent in the world to portray, man.
Yeah.
So I put down like character, hustle, attitude, and then talent last, right? Character, man. If you're 0 for 4, right? I'm referring back to our experience in the baseball world.
Yeah.
You're 0 for 4, man, and you're being a terrible teammate, right? I don't have any hits, right? But it's the bottom of the ninth, and there's 2 outs, and the bases are loaded, and we're just about to. There's a chance we could win, but like I'm 0 for 4, dude. So I'm gonna sit on the bench. I'm not gonna cheer. Like I don't care. I went 0 for 4. Now my average is below 300. Like people see that, dude. You can get your college pay for if you're just a good
Yeah.
person and a good teammate, right? And you can hold your own. I'm obviously that might be a reach, but like you, man, having the character and the hustle. It takes zero talent to hustle down to first base. It takes zero talent to be a good teammate and pick your guys up, cheer for your guys, right? Have their backs, man. Like it takes zero talent. I don't have to be 6 foot, 6'3". I don't have to pump
Yeah.
95 with decent off speed, right? I don't have to be a 5-star recruit to have a good attitude, right? I think maybe obviously the talent's got to be there, right? You got to be able to hold your own on the baseball field if you want to
Yeah.
go play
Yeah.
Division 1 baseball, right? But man, I think I would know some Division 1 baseball coaches that would say, hey man, the character and the attitude and the hustle part, that needs to come before any type of talent, maybe gets in front of that. You know what I mean? Like that, those are big parts, right? Being able to be
Yeah.
part of a team. This guy's gonna potentially, give you a scholarship. Think about it. Just think about this. This guy from out of state just traveled, right? It took time out of his day to come watch you on a backfield, on a field that, he's at your high school and he's here watching you play. He's potentially going to pay for some of your school and offer you some money off of your school. And you're not going to be a good teammate. You're not going to hustle down to first base. This dude
Yeah.
just caught a
But
red eye flight for $600 that he's got to pay for,
you never know
right?
who's watching either.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
I know for a fact. I know for a fact, and I'll save it. I'll save it. I'm not going to get into it, but I've blown opportunities, right? Maybe my career's different. Maybe I'm still playing now. If I went to UCLA, right? I
Yeah.
remember UCLA coming out to watch me play at the World Wood Bat Tournament, right? On this $2,500 team that my mom and dad paid for me to be on, right? This big time like scout,
Yeah.
All-Star Baseball Academy in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, with Mike Manning coaching, man. I remember my mom paid, X amount of money, right? I get out there. We go down to Jupiter, Florida. Everybody's better than me, dude. Everybody's bigger than me. But I know I got this Coach Savage, from UCLA out there. My dad played baseball at UCLA.
Yeah.
Finagled something, right? This guy's out there, right? I'm sure he's out there watching other people too. He's not just out there watching me, but I knew he was there at this game. I didn't get one hit during that tournament. I didn't get one hit during the tournament. And I remember I had a bad attitude and I'm just pissed off. I'm upset. I'm embarrassed, right? We paid all this money to be out here. All these scouts, and there's scouts lining around the parking lots in the fields with golf carts. I've never seen that before, right? There's
Yeah. It's
scouts.
big
There's
time.
professional scouts
Yeah.
there. People are they got the brand on their polo, right? Oh my God, that's a Houston Astros scout. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's a Mississippi State recruiting court. That's a coach. Like, whoa, right? And then the external starts affecting the internal, and then it's like, whoa, the moment's bigger than I'm expecting, and then I'm scared, right? And then I'm upset when I don't get a hit, and then I'm walking down to first base, pouting when I pop up. You know what I mean? And then boom, never hear from him again, right? So character, hustle, attitude, right? They're big components of it. Obviously, you need to be talented to play college athletics, right? Collegiate athletics, but the mindset, the being a good teammate, the character thing's pretty
Yeah.
important as well, right?
I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, you would have gone out there and crushed every ball, every at bat you got, and just did amazing, and you would be at UCLA. But now at 30 years old, right, you
Yeah.
have that perspective, you have that maturity, you've been through and you've persevered. to get to where you are now. But now you have that perspective. But a 17-year-old kid that goes to a tournament and is pissed off because he's not playing well, how do we get through to him, or as a coach or as a recruiter or a teammate or whatever, even like, hey man, you're ruining
Yeah,
this chance. And for me, like, I was never the guy that threw the hardest. I mean, you faced me, like I was kind of crafty. I could pitch, I could move the ball in, out, up, down, a couple different
absolutely. Put
pitches.
it where
But
you want it.
yeah, but for me, we've talked about this, we've hit on this, but I controlled what I could control. Like how hard I worked in PFPs, pitchers fielders practice. Like I was an animal about that stuff. Like I attacked every ball. I wanted to, anytime the ball was hit back to me, I was like, I knew exactly where I wanted to go every play. That's something I could control. Too many guys nowadays, like I watch PFPs or even like in spring training or something, and they're just like lollygagging around, like, and then you see a ball get hit back to him. I watched the World Baseball Classic, and nothing against Adam Wainwright. He's got a gorgeous, illustrious career, but he booted like three balls that were hit right back to him. I'm sorry, but maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know when the last time that guy worked on PFPs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it,
But
dude.
yeah, and so stuff like that. So kids, I used to be that guy where I'd be like doing a PFP and almost like make fun of it.
Going through the motions. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
not
be like, oh well, I don't know, Sam's over there laughing because so and so's trying too hard, and I'm like, no, I don't care how hard. If I don't have any friends or something, if I was that passionate about a goal, like if my work ethic got in the way of someone liking me as a person, I probably don't want that person to be in my life.
Amen.
I mean,
Amen.
you can run with that, but that helped me out a ton when I got that kind of realization. Like in college, when I'd like get on like a little runner's high and take off, my roommate was like, "Oh, you there goes David," and I was like, "I'm I'm doing this for me, not you, man."
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. And you ended up playing professional baseball. You ended up
yeah,
doing what you wanted to do, man. So
yeah,
I love that. All right. So we touched on these recruiting services. Um, you know, how much all these these parents and these kids are shelling out for these recruiting services. Um, I pay so much. Tell me what my kids should be doing. Tell me what I should be doing, right? Tell me what I should be doing different. How to, all this stuff, man. What kind of relationship? This is what I said to the guy that brought this up to me. It's what kind of relationship do you have with your athletic director, right? So when you're at that age, right? You're sophomore, junior, senior in high school. I guess there are rules now that are coming out that kind of changes the landscape of how the recruiting process goes, right? I'm not up to date with all the rules, right? But I think
yeah. I don't know.
I know that they're making rules, right, to the recruiting process. And how I was going through it, right? When there was serious interest, right? I could gauge the interest via email, electronically with these coaches that I would outreach to when I'm in high school. Just sending out the little generic, like, hey, my name's Ian Miller. I went to Bishop Shanahan High School in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. This and that. Here are my numbers for the year. This is what I run in the 60, right?
Yeah, it's big.
Um, here's a little video. Here's a YouTube video that my mom shot. If you want to check it out, here's my schedule. Boom. And then here's my head coach's contact information. Here's my athletic director's contact information, right? So if there was genuine interest, the idea would be that these high school coach or excuse me, these college coaches or these college recruiting coordinators
Yeah,
would reach out to somebody a little bit more sophisticated than me, right? Somebody that maybe, had credit in the industry, right? Maybe like an athletic director, a high school athletic director, or the high school college coach,
coach.
or
Yeah,
a high school baseball coach. Hey, what kind of character does this kid have? Is this a good kid? What's going on with this kid, right? Because he looks great on paper, looks
yeah.
great over via email, so it kind of comes down to like, what do you have that type of relationship with your athletic director? Is your athletic director, is that what he's there for, or she's there for? Like, what is that about, right? Maybe you can bounce some of this stuff off of your athletic director. My personal experience, I remember this. My athletic director was Ted Torrance. He was an older gentleman, right? Sweetheart. But I was kind of toiling with the idea of, hey, I could stay close to home and, go to a Division II school and kind of in my mind play it safe, you
Yeah,
know, um, and potentially play early, right? Maybe we'll figure it out as it goes, right? Or I could kind of take the leap, burn the ships, as that little adage says.
I
But
like that one.
just
Yeah,
go for it, right? Just go for it. That's kind of what I was toiling with. I remember my athletic director brought me into an auxiliary classroom, and he had a paper, he had a newspaper, and he slapped the newspaper down on the table. It was like, Ian, man, I love the ambition. I love what you're going for. I respect it. But this is the rosters for the University of Cincinnati. So UC was the school at the time that I was trying to, get them to like me, right? He slapped down this the paper, and he's like, man, look, this is the roster for Division I school, right? I think it was UC at the time. And he's like,
Yeah.
man, look at their heights, look at their weights, right? These guys are monsters, right? They're 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", right? Just they're big boys, right? They're men, and 185 pounds plus. And he's like, Ian, man, you're small, right? You're 5'9", 5'10" tops, 150 pounds. Like, man, these guys are way bigger than you, man. Like, you gotta be smart. You gotta play it safe. And I think at that time, at that moment, is when I knew. I'm like, I'm going for it, dude. I'm absolutely going for it. I know I'm going division. It's Division I or bust for me, dude. Right. But like, obviously I didn't have that type of relationship with my athletic director, right? Maybe I didn't verbalize it enough, what I wanted my hopes and dreams to be, right? What my goals were, what I was trying to achieve. It's like, man, would you recommend, do you think, right? Kind of detailing, like thinking back to your experience, what would you say, like a high school kid, what should he do? Let's say the motivation's there, the ambition's there, right? Is that you need to strike up a conversation with maybe your high school head coach and your athletic director, like, hey boys, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I want. Man, my hope and my dream is to play Division I, or
Yeah. Whatever it
any
is.
type of division baseball in the state of Ohio, right? Maybe I want to
Yeah.
stay home. I'm referencing Ohio because this is where I'm at right now, right? Or Kansas, right? Maybe it's that type of conversation. You need to have an open dialogue with, the people that have a direct influence on your career, right? Maybe everybody needs to be on board, right? Would you say maybe that's something that you need to have that open
Yeah.
dialogue with
I
them?
mean, that's the athletic director's job, right? If some kid approached him and said, "Hey, could you help me out? I'm curious about pursuing my baseball career in college." That's his job.
Yeah. So I
Um,
mean, then
yeah,
what do we think the need is then? I mean, not to we don't have to go into it, but it's like, man, you have these homegrown resources
yeah.
in house for you. I mean, are you utilizing them? Right?
I don't think many kids do. And now it's gotten so crazy on social media and all these different forums where kids are posting, their recruiting videos and highlights of their game on there. And I think the athletic director and some even coaches and stuff have it's almost like a lost art. Like people aren't utilizing that. They're just going off like hearsay.
Yeah,
Uh, like, oh, that guy's got this many followers, whatever. Um,
makes sense.
I mean, I think private instruction is huge.
Yeah.
Um, I think the kids that I've seen that have progressed a lot because I'm directly involved with an academy in Kansas. Um, and that helps too. Like, do you want to pay that much money and be on some elite academy? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It was different when I was playing, but they help with the recruiting process, and there's guys that are employed to be there to do that. But I think private instruction and just like I know it sounds silly, but putting up numbers, like I do think if you're good enough, especially in baseball, you will be found. But it depends on by who. Like my goal was to just play professional baseball. I didn't think I would play it for as long as I did. I thought I might play one season rookie ball and I'd be like, wow, I got to play pro ball. But if your goal is to play in college, whether it's D1 like you, then you were like, I'm gonna do or die, like I'm gonna make it D1, which you did, and that's crazy awesome. Or some guys would be like, I know I'm not gonna have a chance to play professionally. I'm gonna go to NAIA school, maybe Division III, what have you. But maybe it transpires into something afterwards because you develop and you grow and all that. But I think anyone's goal in high school should be to play in college, whether that's the lowest, smallest school they've ever heard of, or UCLA, because you can get your school paid for.
Oh, dude,
You know,
that's another
you,
thing.
yeah,
That's another thing. It's
it's a
huge.
huge deal. Yeah, and nowadays,
Somebody's
like
gonna have
kids
to pay
don't.
for it.
I didn't realize that till. I mean, I'm just now realizing like I got to go to school 3 years for free. and I have like really nothing to show for it because all I cared about was baseball, which is great. But I was taking, I
Classes
mean,
just to get by.
yeah, yeah,
I get that. 100%. So we're running down, I mean, winding down here, man.
yeah.
Let's go.
Oh,
What do you,
grades, yeah,
what you got to think about, right? So what do you have to think about, man? What's when you're going through this college recruiting process, any sport, right? Any level, any division, right? NAIA all the way to D1. What do you have to think about, man? Number one, grades, right? So it's
yeah.
that's redundant. Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
What if you're a
Let
bubble
me,
kid though? What if you're a kid
yes,
that, yeah,
yes. So if you're handcuffed, you can only go, you can only play Division 3,
yeah,
or you've only been seen locally, Division 2, Division 3. It's like, okay, well, what if you have shitty grades? What if you have crappy grades? Excuse me, right?
mm,
And you can't. These guys can't offer you any type of walk-on spot or a scholarship, right? If you have good grades, right? You take your attendance serious, you take your grades serious, SATs, whatever that stuff is, man. You've good grades, man. The opportunities are just endless to you, man. You could get opportunities that you're not even aware about because of your grades,
well,
right? It's
I think it's changed, but when I did the ACT was big in the Midwest. I think you guys probably took the SATs.
yeah, yeah,
So I took the ACT, and you had to get a 21, I think, to go to Division 1 or something like that. It's
really.
probably changed now, but
Okay,
I got like a 20,
okay,
and so that's another reason I went to junior college.
got you,
So it's like I don't want to retake the ACT again. I'm a young, stupid kid, whatever.
hundred
But yeah,
percent.
it's massive, especially if you're a bubble guy and you have the same thing that someone else. But hey, let's take the
Yes,
guy with better grades.
yes, dude, 100%. I got the same skill levels
Yeah,
Will Smith over there, from the county next to me. How am I gonna separate myself, man? We do the same thing on the baseball field. I hit from the left side, play the same position as this guy. I got the same numbers as this guy. Well,
yeah,
you know what? The deciding factor might be, hey, might come down to grades, man.
yeah. And you might get a scholarship based on your grades, just there to boost the roster's GPA. But
100%.
you end up working your butt off, and you take some guy's job, and they're like, "Holy cow, this guy was here because he was smart, but he's turning into somebody." Like you never know.
And then 10 years later, you're in the big leagues,
Yeah,
right? It's just something like that, man. You're more limited with poor grades, right? You
yeah.
take that however you want it. That might be black and white. That might be boring, right? You've heard that a million times from a million different people, but man, you're more limited with poor grades,
But
right?
I'm serious. If I was a 16, 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid watching this, and we get to this part, I would be like,
Yep, same.
but I promise whoever's listening to that or whoever guys get to listen to this, just please, that's like, if you get anything out of this, you can, that's something you can control. Your grades, your effort in your schoolwork, an extra 20 minutes a night or something. Like I promise you, baseball, you and I, Ian and I got to play for a very long time. But at some point, your baseball career is going to end. Is it in a year from now? I don't know. Is it in 20 years? Maybe, right? But you have to have something to fall back on.
100%. And number two and number three, man. How serious are you about your sport?
Yeah.
How serious are you about an education? Right? You're kind of going through the process, making decisions, right? Kind of fielding offers, maybe not fielding offers, trying to maybe pinpoint where you want to go, what's important to you, right? I would have never gone to my school ever in a million years if it wasn't for Division 1 baseball, right? I didn't go there for the education. I didn't go there for anything other than baseball,
Yeah.
other than that's a lily pad for me to leapfrog to the professional ranks, man. Um, but how serious are you about your education, right? Because somebody's going to have to pay for it if you're not going to A, get an athletic scholarship, or B, get an academic scholarship. Your grades stink, and you're an okay athlete, but it just you didn't put in the time or the work or the effort to kind of take that next step, and you have nonchalant okay grades, man. I mean, you're gonna have to be paying full price for
Yeah.
admission, man. And if you're out of state, dude, the
Oh, it's massive. Yeah.
it's insane. I think my tuition my first year on college, when I Wagner College, right, was 40 something thousand dollars. My first year, 2010, dude. So I don't even know what that is now, but I was a walk-on. So I
Yeah.
was saved. I was saved just by having not absolutely horrendous grades, right? So maybe I might have gotten some money off of tuition right on the back end, but like, dude, somebody's going to have to go, somebody's either going to have to pay for your college education or they're going to have to go into debt for your college education.
Yeah.
Right. So you really need to kind of take a step back and kind of weigh the pros and cons, right? Player personnel is a big thing. So when I was going through obviously the recruiting process, for football, these Division 1 athletes can make a decision on their school based off, oh man, I love that stadium, right? That stadium's cool. Those uniforms are dope. They're sponsored by Nike. They get all the coolest
Yeah.
stuff, man. But what's even better than that? Like, what's the player personnel like? Take a step back and it's like, who's going to shape me when I'm there for 3 or 4 years, right? Who's going to shape me? I'm a young man, just I'm impressionable, right? I still don't know what I'm doing yet, not just in anything, but like in the outside world, right? I'm just a kid, right? What's that player personnel? Who's going to raise me, right? So maybe you got to weigh the pros and cons, right? Who are you going to go play for? Who are you going to go learn from for the next 4 years? Like who's at the helm of that athletic program, right? Because they're going to mold you and you're going to come out on the other end after those 4 years molded by that person, right? That's leading you. Who's the leader of that program? Who's going to be molding me? Um, you know, if you want to go to a school in Florida, right? You're from
Yeah.
Ohio, you want to go to a school in Florida because it's near the beach, dude. I mean, that's dope, but like, you're going to go catch a career in the beach, in the
No, what do
ocean?
you that was I think I want to hit on that really quick because all these kids have this bling in their eyes, right? Like I want to go to this big time school, whatever. I'm assuming more than likely every coach at those big time schools are probably a pretty good coach. But if I was younger and I could disassociate like the bling, the beach, the jerseys, the stadium, whatever, and be able to sit down with a coach and see, is this guy someone I'm gonna look up to? Is he gonna lead me and my
Yes.
teammates to become better men, better fathers one day?
Can
Better
you
teammates,
inspire
all
me?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take a bullet for my junior college coach. Like if I knew that it was gonna smoke me in the leg and I'd probably be all right, if it was gonna be a tough recovery,
Yeah.
I
Just
would let
meat
someone.
grade.
Yeah, I
Get the
would
meat.
take a bullet for my junior college coach. He was a man of character. He was a great father, a tremendous leader, and he ate, slept, and breathed baseball. To this day, I couldn't tell you last time I talked to him, but I hope he's doing well, and I would take a bullet for him because that's how good of a person he was.
I love that. It's important, dude. It's important,
Yeah,
right? Do they have a good business school? Right? What
yeah.
what are the internships like, man? You got to kind of look at the whole apple is you got to look at everything for the
Not just
opportunities,
because they
man.
have Nike jerseys and
100%, dude.
that's those are
100%.
perks. Those could be little pluses, but write down, the whys.
Yeah.
Tremendous coach. Uh, the strength coach seems that he has a PhD, whatever. Like some of the things that are going to be, but what 17, 18, that's what I challenge from all this. Challenge a 17-year-old to think about that stuff, not just,
100%. Yeah,
how
see
cool it
the
is.
outside. Yeah. It's important obviously to take a look at the whole situation, right? Just as, as opposed to, hey man, it's right near the beach, right? There are a
Yeah.
whole bunch of opportunities out there, man. It's talk about the player personnel. Who's going to be raising you? Who's going to be molding you into that young man or young woman that, is going to be, in the real world after college is done. Location, obviously, location's cool, plays a part of it. What happens if you're from Ohio or you're from Kansas and you want to go to, a school in Florida because it's near the beach, man, and then you have the weekend off and all your friends whom are local or,
Yeah.
they're in that part of the country, right? So they can just shoot home for the weekend and they go home for the weekend, man. What are you gonna do? Right? You're gonna go to that beach, right? I mean, it takes a day to travel home. Did you weigh all that? You have to, yeah, it's an 18-hour drive home or, 6, 7 hour travel day just to get home via airport. I mean, are you weighing that? It's location, internships, connections, right? Certain schools in certain parts of the country might have certain opportunities and relationships and internships with like Lockheed
Yeah.
Martin or something. Something crazy, right? That
Well, you said
other
it. Like maybe the business school there is better, or it depends on what
yeah,
you're going for. Maybe you'll get more noticed if you go to this school because you can get drafted or whatever. But
for sure.
you got to think of, and I never thought about any of that stuff. Like, just let me play. Like, give me a jersey and I'll go play wherever. But
Yeah.
looking back at it, yeah, like I wish this information was, or I wish I'd be able to sit down and really think about it.
100%, dude. 100%.
That would
Maybe,
help.
yeah, yeah. Good business. Does it have a good business program, right? Am I gonna? I majored in economics for whatever
Yeah.
reason, right? I was close to New York, so I thought, hey, if baseball doesn't work out, right? I'm only going to school to play Division I baseball. But if it doesn't work out, I'm majoring in economics and I'm in New York. So I
Yeah.
mean, Wall Street's right next door, right? Obviously, you're shooting for the stars there, but I'm out of baseball now. I'm a wealth advisor, so my economics degree is relevant, right? It's
Hmm.
funny how things work out, but you need to kind of like look at, you need to gauge the whole situation, right, from the outside in. Look at the whole picture, man, not just not just you know, the little what's right in front of you,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, a
So
younger kid thinks they're going to live forever. They're not going to feel any pain, right? And that's
yeah,
what I challenge some of these younger kids to really think about is have a plan, have a future. Be as unrealistic as you want, be as realistic as you want,
yeah,
but have a plan and know your why.
yeah. Ah, I love that. I love that. Know your why, right? Control what you can control, man. Um,
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So that's man, that's all we got. I appreciate appreciate you, David, making time on your Sunday, man. I appreciate whoever's watching this for making time watching this. Any questions? Anything maybe you guys want us to hit on next time? Submit your questions or your topics to the nine hole podcast at gmail.com. The number nine, the nine hole podcast at gmail.com. All right. Thank you guys. David, I'll catch you, brother. Have a good weekend, dude.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.